One of the most tragic and puzzling events in aviation history is the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370. This baffling case has remained unsolved for years, with countless search efforts unable to determine the plane's final whereabouts. However, a recent breakthrough by a dedicated team of researchers might have finally uncovered the location of the ill-fated Flight MH370. In this video, we'll delve into the details of this astonishing finding, exploring the implications and the journey to this potentially monumental discovery. The disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 remains an enigma as the aircraft seemingly vanished without a trace, as if into thin air. Unraveling this mystery hinges on piecing together clues from the flight's sequence of events. So what exactly unfolded with Flight MH370? The flight, operated by a Boeing 777-200ER, embarked from Kuala Lumpur International Airport on March 8, 2014. Bounding for Beijing Capital International Airport, on board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members. Anticipated to be a routine journey, it would soon transform into one of the most perplexing enigmas in the history of aviation. MH370 took off at 12:41 a.m. local time. For the initial 38 minutes, everything appeared normal. The aircraft maintained communication with air traffic control and adhered to its planned trajectory. However, at 1:19 a.m., as MH370 transitioned from Malaysian to Vietnamese airspace, a pivotal moment occurred. Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control Center passed a handover message to the crew of Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control. The co-pilot's reply, "Good night, Malaysian 370, marked the final communication received from the aircraft, propelling MH370 into an enduring mystery. Shortly after its last known communication at approximately 1:21 a.m., the transponder of Flight MH370, which is crucial for communication with ground-based radar systems, was either manually disabled or malfunctioned. Consequently, civilian radar lost the ability to track the aircraft. Nevertheless, military radar continued to monitor MH370 as it veered off its intended path. Rather than proceeding northward towards Beijing, the aircraft unexpectedly turned westward across the Malay Peninsula. Intriguingly, even though the transponder was inactive, the plane's satellite communication system persistently sent hourly pings to a satellite operated by Inmarsat. These pings did not relay precise location information, but they did confirm that the aircraft remained operational and airborne. The final comprehensive satellite handshake occurred at 8:11 a.m., suggesting that MH370 continued to fly for nearly 7 hours after it lost contact with air traffic controllers. The baffling disappearance of MH370 sparked one of the largest search and rescue operations ever conducted. Here's a brief timeline of the initial search efforts. March 8, 2014, MH370 reported missing after failing to arrive in Beijing. The initial search efforts concentrated on the South China Sea, based on the latest detected location by civilian radar. March 9th through the 11th, 2014. The search zone expanded to include the Strait of Malacca, as military radar data indicated that the plane might have reversed its course. March 12th through the 14th, 2014. The search area widened further, extending into the Andaman Sea. Numerous countries, such as China, the United States, and India, joined the search operations, providing ships, aircraft, and satellite imagery to aid in the search. On March 15th, 2014, Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak made a significant announcement regarding the missing flight MH370. He revealed the aircraft's communication systems had been deliberately disabled and, based on satellite ping data, the plane might have continued flying for up to 7 hours after losing contact. This led to the identification of two potential flight corridors: a northern corridor stretching from North Thailand to Kazakhstan, and a southern corridor extending from Indonesia to the southern Indian Ocean. In the following days, from March 16th to the 24th, 2014, the search efforts shifted primarily to the southern corridor. This decision was based on further analysis of the satellite data. Several countries, including Australia, concentrated their search on the southern Indian Ocean. Satellite imagery from Australia, China, France displayed potential debris fields, but none could be conclusively linked to MH370. On March 24th, 2014, Prime Minister Razak made another crucial announcement. New satellite analysis indicated that MH370's last known position was in the middle of the Indian Ocean, west of Perth, Australia. He expressed deep regret as he concluded that the flight had ended in the southern Indian Ocean. From March 25th to April 2014, the search efforts intensified in the southern Indian Ocean. Ships and aircraft from various countries joined forces, combing the vast area in hopes of finding traces of the ill-fated flight. Despite these extensive efforts, the ultimate fate of Flight MH370 remained shrouded in mystery. The ongoing mystery of MH370 took a turn when several acoustic signals, potentially from the plane's black boxes, were detected. However, these signals ultimately did not lead to any significant discoveries. Throughout April and the following months, the search intensified, with underwater drones and specialized equipment deployed to meticulously scan the ocean floor. Despite these extensive efforts, MH370 remained elusive, deepening the tragedy of the event that left families in anguish and the aviation world in shock. The international commitment to solving this mystery was evident in the massive search and rescue operations and the deployment of advanced technology. Yet, the final resting place of MH370 and the reasons for its disappearance remained a mystery. Among the numerous theories surrounding the fate of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, one of the most controversial and intriguing possibilities is the thought of pilot suicide. This theory speculates that the captain, Zairi Ahmad Saha, deliberately deviated the plane from its course and steered it into the southern Indian Ocean, tragically ending the lives of all 238 passengers and crew aboard. The first piece of evidence supporting this theory revolves around the flight path of MH370. After departing Kuala Lumpur on March 8, 2014, the aircraft was scheduled to follow a northern route towards Beijing over the South China Sea. However, at 1:19, after the last verbal contact with air traffic control, where Goodnight Malaysia 370 was transmitted, the plane's transponder and ACARS, aircraft communications addressing and reporting system, were switched off or disabled. This action rendered the aircraft invisible to civilian radar. The plane then executed a sharp left turn, flying back over the Malacca Peninsula, crossing into the Strait of Malacca, then turning right and heading south over the Indian Ocean. It is believed to have continued flying for about 6 hours until it exhausted its fuel and crashed. The second piece of evidence examined in this theory is the background and behavior of the pilot. Zairi Ahmad Shah, a 53-year-old veteran with more than 18,000 flying hours. Zahiri was a married father of 3 and had no known history of mental illness or criminal activity. This aspect of his profile adds complexity to the theory, as his experience and seemingly stable background appears inconsistent with the speculated deliberate act. The complexities surrounding the disappearance of MH370 have led investigators and experts to explore various theories, including the possibility of pilot suicide or hijacking. Some have suggested that the pilot, Zairi Ahmad Shah, might have been driven to suicide due to personal or professional issues. Reports speculated on aspects of his life, such as marital problems, political activism against the Malaysian government, depression, loneliness, or a desire for an infamous end to his aviation career. Investigators' scrutiny of Zairi's home flight simulator added another layer to this theory. They discovered he had practiced routes similar to MH370's path, including flights over the Indian Ocean and landings on remote islands. Additionally, some data from the simulator was deleted weeks before the flight, raising suspicions about his intentions. Lack of communication or distress signals from the plane also fueled this theory. It's speculated that Zairi might have deliberately avoided contact with air traffic control and incapacitated the passengers and crew, possibly by locking the cockpit door, disabling emergency systems, and depressurizing the cabin. He could have then flown the plane on a predetermined course until it crashed. Despite extensive investigations, no definitive cause or motive for MH370's disappearance has been established. No terrorist group has claimed responsibility, and no mechanical failures or external factors have been conclusively identified. The hijacking theory is another avenue of investigation. This theory suggests that MH370 was intentionally taken off course for political, personal, or financial reasons. The aircraft's erratic flight plan after the last communication with air traffic control and the deliberate disabling of the aircraft's communication systems are key pieces of evidence supporting this theory. These actions imply that someone with knowledge of the aircraft systems was in control and aimed to render the plane undetectable to radar and ground communication systems. In summary, while theories abound, including pilot suicide or hijacking, the disappearance of MH370 remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern aviation, with no conclusive evidence to fully support any single theory. The extended flight duration of MH370, as suggested by satellite data, indicates that the aircraft continued flying for several hours after losing contact with air traffic control. This aspect, coupled with deliberate course changes, suggests that the plane was under controlled flight rather than being an uncontrolled descent due to a technical malfunction. Such deliberate actions imply a conscious effort to navigate the aircraft along a specific path. The absence of distress calls from the aircraft raises further questions. This lack of communication could indicate that the pilots were incapacitated or prevented from sending out signals, a scenario that aligns with the hijacking theory. In such a situation, the pilots might have been rendered unable to communicate with air traffic control, either through physical intervention or technical sabotage. For the hijacking theory to be plausible, a motive must be established. Some theories suggest that the hijacking of MH370 could have been politically motivated. In this context, the disappearance of the plane might have been intended as a symbolic act or statement against the Malaysian government or another political entity. This motive could involve a desire to send the message, create international attention, or express dissent. However, it's crucial to note that these theories, while compelling, remain speculative. Despite extensive investigations, no concrete evidence has been found to conclusively support any of these theories. The true motives and circumstances surrounding the mysterious disappearance of MH370 continue to be one of the most puzzling enigmas in aviation history, leaving more questions than answers in its wake. The theory of MH370 being accidentally shot down is one of the many speculative ideas that have emerged in the absence of conclusive evidence. This theory suggests that the aircraft might have been mistakenly targeted and destroyed by a military operation. Here are some considerations regarding how this could have potentially happened. Misidentification. In a high-tension or military-sensitive area, there is a risk that an aircraft could have been misidentified as a hostile target. If MH370 had deviated into such airspace, it might have been mistakenly perceived as a threat, military exercise, or accidental launch. The aircraft could have been accidentally shot down during a military exercise or due to an unintended missile launch. Such incidents, although rare, have occurred in the past. Radar signature and flight path. If MH370's flight path took it over or near a politically sensitive or militarized zone, its unexpected presence and loss of communication might have triggered a defensive response. No distress signal. In such a scenario, the aircraft might not have had time to send a distress signal, especially if the destruction was sudden and catastrophic. Lack of claim or acknowledgement. If a country or military accident shot down a civilian aircraft, there might be reluctance to admit such an error due to the severe political and diplomatic ramifications. Debris and investigation challenges. The discovery and analysis of debris could potentially support or refute this theory. However, the vast and remote area where MH370 is believed to have gone down makes the recovery and investigation of wreckage extremely challenging. It's important to note that this theory, like others surrounding MH370, remains speculative, without concrete evidence. The absence of claims of responsibility, combined with the lack of physical evidence due to the remote and deep location of the presumed crash site in the Indian Ocean, leaves this theory unverified. The accidental shoot-down scenario, while a subject discussion among theorists, is one of many possibilities in a case marked by uncertainty and lack of definitive answers. The various theories surrounding the disappearance of MH370, including the possibility of it being accidentally shot down, highlight the enigmatic nature of this incident. The lack of a group claiming responsibility for a politically motivated hijacking is indeed unusual. Other theories, like a ransom scenario or hijacking for scrap value, lack supporting evidence and seem implausible due to logistical challenges. The theory of an individual hijacking the plane due to personal grievances ranges from disgruntled employee seeking revenge for a vendetta against a passenger or the airline. This theory, while conceivable, lacks concrete evidence. Drawing parallels with the 9/11 attacks, some experts have speculated that MH370 might have been hijacked with the intent of using it in a subsequent terror attack. However, the absence of such an attack and the lack of any group claiming responsibility weaken this theory. The idea that MH370 was accidentally shot down is another hypothesis. This could have happened due to several reasons. Misidentification. The plane might have been misidentified as a hostile target or a sensitive or militarized zone. Military exercise or accidental launch. An accidental strike could occur during a military exercise or due to an unintended missile launch. Radar signature and flight path. If MH370 entered a politically sensitive area, it could have been perceived as a threat, especially if it deviated from its expected flight path and lost communication. Immediate catastrophe. A missile strike would likely result in an immediate and catastrophic end, explaining the lack of a distress signal. Political and diplomatic sensitivities. A military mistakenly shooting down a civilian aircraft might be reluctant to admit such an error due to the severe repercussions. Investigation challenges. The remote location of the presumed crash site in the Indian Ocean complicates the recovery and analysis of evidence that could support or refute this theory. However, it's important to emphasize this scenario, like the others, remains speculative without a solid evidence. The truth behind MH370's disappearance continues to be one of the most profound mysteries in aviation history. The theory involving lithium-ion batteries aboard MH370 presents a plausible scenario, considering the known risks associated with these batteries. Lithium-ion batteries, when damaged, short-circuited, overcharged, or exposed to high temperatures, can indeed catch fire or explode. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has documented incidents where such batteries have caused fires on aircraft. Given that MH370 was carrying a significant shipment of lithium-ion batteries, the possibility of a malfunction or damage causing a fire is a reasonable hypothesis. This theory suggests that a fire in the cargo hold could have led to rapid decompression or failure of critical systems. In response, the pilots might have altered the plane's course to make an emergency landing. If the fire incapacitated the crew or further damaged the aircraft's systems, it could explain why the plane continued off course until it ran out of fuel. A fire could also explain the breakdown in communication. If it quickly damaged the aircraft's communication systems, this would account for the absence of a distress call. The rapid progression of a fire, especially fueled by lithium-ion batteries, might have overwhelmed the crew, leaving them unable to communicate with air traffic control. Precedents like the 2010 UPS cargo plane crash in Dubai and issues with the Boeing 787 Dreamliner in 2013 highlight the risks of transporting lithium-ion batteries. The Malaysian government's official report on MH370 acknowledged the presence of these batteries in the cargo, though it did not conclusively state they caused a fire. There was some initial inconsistency regarding the shipment of lithium-ion batteries on MH370. Malaysia Airlines initially claimed that the batteries were not on the cargo manifest, but later investigations confirmed over 200 kilograms of batteries on board. This has led to speculation that the potential dangers of the battery shipment might have been downplayed or overlooked. One reason this theory might be considered over other hypotheses, like a mid-air explosion, is the lack of widespread debris. A fire could have led to a relatively intact water landing, explaining the scarcity of debris initially found. In the ongoing search for MH370, a team from the University of Western Australia, UWA, have utilized reverse drift modeling, a new aircraft tracking technology. They have applied these techniques to debris pieces likely from MH370, including a flaperon, a wing part, and a cabin interior panel. Their studies, including one published in 2017, have predicted the resting place of MH370 as longitude 96.5 east and latitude 32.5 south within a 40-kilometer radius. This advanced analysis offers a glimmer of hope in uncovering the final resting place of MH370, providing some closure to this enduring mystery. The research concluded by Richard Godfrey, a British aeronautical engineer, along with academics Haynes Coetzee and Professor Simon Maskell, adds another layer of insight into the mystery of MH370's disappearance. Godfrey's approach, which utilizes the Weak Signal Propagation Reporter Network, WSPR-NET, represents a novel method in tracking the aircraft's flight path and potential impact location. WSRP-NET, a global network of amateur radio operators, transmits and receives low-power signals capable of long-distance travel. These signals can be affected by the presence of aircraft, reflecting or scattering them in different directions. By analyzing changes in signal strength and direction, Godfrey was able to detect and track MH370 as it traversed the Indian Ocean. Additionally, Godfrey's research incorporated data from Inmarsat, the satellite company that received hourly pings from MH370's satellite communication system. These pings, while not providing exact location data, indicated the distance and angle between the plane and the satellite. By integrating this data with the Boeing's performance data and oceanographic drift data, Godfrey could narrow down the possible flight paths and impact locations of MH370. Godfrey's analysis concludes that MH370 flew for nearly 7 hours after losing contact with air traffic control, covering a distance of about 5,000 kilometers. The plane initially headed westward over the Malaya Peninsula before returning southward over the Indian Ocean, following a curved trajectory influenced by wind and the Earth's rotation. The presumed crash location, at approximately 30.57 degrees south and 98.75 degrees east, is roughly 2,000 kilometers west of Perth, Australia, and about 1,000 kilometers north of the previously searched area. This research, aligning with previous studies and analyses, contributes significantly to the ongoing efforts to unravel the enigma of MH370. It demonstrates the potential of WSPR technology and other innovative methods in aviation tracking, potentially offering tools to prevent future aircraft disappearances and provide closure to the families and friends of those lost in such tragic incidents. Richard Godfrey's research into the disappearance of MH370 is indeed considered a significant breakthrough in the ongoing search for the missing aircraft. Supported by experts like Professor Charitha Patiarachi, the head of oceanography at the University of Western Australia, Godfrey's findings align with independent analyses of floating debris drift. This convergence of different research methods adds credibility to his proposed crash site location. The families of MH370 victims, who have endured over 7 years of uncertainty and grief, have welcomed Godfrey's research. His work offers a glimmer of hope for those seeking closure and answers to this long-standing mystery. Godfrey's research underscores the need for a renewed search for MH370, advocating the use of advanced technologies like underwater drones and specialized scanning equipment to explore the ocean floor. He emphasizes the importance of this endeavor not only for the relatives of those aboard MH370, but also for the broader aviation industry and the flying public. Uncovering the truth about MH370's fate is crucial for understanding what happened and ensuring the safety of future flights. For those interested in following the developments in this captivating mystery and supporting the ongoing search for MH370, subscribing and liking content related to these efforts can help raise awareness and keep the conversation alive. Your engagement is valuable in maintaining the momentum towards finding answers and providing much needed closure to the families affected by this tragedy. Thank you for following along on this discussion on the ongoing search for MH370 and the groundbreaking developments in this mystery. If you're interested in staying updated on this topic and other similar content, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us to continue to provide insightful updates and keep the conversation going. Subscribe now to be a part of this community seeking answers and understanding in some of the most intriguing mysteries of our time.